Hey everyone, PC gaming is awesome, but isn't always cheap to build or buy a gaming computer that can play all of the latest games. After all, even a mid-range graphics card can cost many hundreds of pounds or dollars, and then all the other components can cost many hundreds of pounds or dollars more. So in this video I wanted to run through all of the different ways that you can get a gaming PC for cheap. Firstly, yard sales, or car boot sales as we call them here in the UK, can sometimes have pretty good deals on PCs, especially if someone has moved on out and the person is having a bit of a clear out. The main downside here, of course, is that you can't actually test the individual computer components work and also the computer as a whole works, and you also won't be able to easily see the hardware inside the computer. You might be able to see what the graphics card is, for example, if there's a window in the case, but the CPU will almost certainly be covered off by the CPU cooler. This is where trust comes in. Hopefully the person actually selling the computer can tell you exactly what hardware is in the PC and whether there are any problems with it at all. Go with your gut though and don't buy the computer if you don't trust this is a genuinely good working computer. Also, this brings me onto a general point which applies to all 10 of the tips I'm actually going to cover in this video. If you plan on paying $150, for example, on a PC, you probably aren't going to get some super powerful computer that can play all of the latest games at 4K resolution. You might need to actually adjust your expectations down a little bit and accept that gaming at 1080p and 30 FPS is probably going to be more likely for you. This doesn't mean though that you should just go out and buy the first ever computer that you see. If it has a GTX 170 and a 7000 series Intel CPU, that means this is roughly 8 years old, which might actually be fine for 1080p gaming. But just don't go out and pay $800 for that particular PC. Before going to a yard sale though, try and actually look around at second-hand PCs online to see roughly what they're worth, and you'll then be in a better position to actually shop with confidence and also haggle prices down if sometimes they list in them a bit too high. My second suggestion is a bit of an unethical and potentially illegal one in some parts of the world, so always do your research first. Dumpster diving involves looking inside big dumpsters and bins, often in the back of tech companies and shops, and seeing if they contain any computers. Now, it's very unlikely that you'll find some super modern PC with an RTX 4090 in a dumpster, for example, but some people have found half-decent computers using this method. This is especially true for college dumpsters at the end of term time. Sometimes you have really wealthy students from wealthy backgrounds who simply chuck out all of their old tech instead of simply packing it all up. I continue to point out though that dumpster diving is not allowed in some parts of the world, so please be cautious with this method. Third, try and see whether there's a scheme like Free Geek near you. These great schemes are often non-profits that aim to recycle and restore old hardware, meaning that you can often buy or receive a low-cost PC through them. Some even have schemes where you can actually earn a computer in return for volunteering for them, which of course can be a great way of helping other people while eventually earning a computer for yourself. These local tech charities will also be a reliable way of getting a computer that you know will have been tested thoroughly, and it doesn't have loads of hardware faults inside of it, for example. Next up, have you ever noticed just how many computers local schools, colleges and big companies have? Well, after a certain number of years, many of these organisations will then upgrade the old computers too, meaning they sometimes donate or sell these old ones on, either via surplus stores or local tech stores. You could try contacting local schools or companies and also asking them if they have any old PCs going for sale. Yes, they might not be super powerful gaming computers, but maybe you could upgrade them bit by bit with an SSD, some new RAM and then a graphics card, and eventually turn this really budget PC into a budget gaming powerhouse. This brings me on to my fifth point. So many companies use Dell, partly because Dell has really generous bulk buy-in and corporate discounts. I was actually recently at my local vets and they have Dells everywhere, for example. Naturally, after a few years, these computers end up getting disposed of as part of the schemes that they were purchased from, and then they get upgraded. And the old ones often end up being sold by resellers on eBay. These can allow you to bag a gaming PC for a low price, but just double check that the computer actually has a graphics card or at least has a free PCI Express slot so you can add a graphics card later on, because relying on your CPU's integrated graphics often won't be good enough. The only downside of this approach is that some resold PCs use proprietary power supply units, and you sometimes can't actually add extra PCI Express power for the GPU. In this case, you want to actually buy a low-powered GPU like the RX 6400 from AMD or the GTX 1650 from Nvidia. Both will work fine for 1080p gaming. The sixth option to explore is Facebook Marketplace. This can be a great resource, but also a terrible resource. It could be full of awesome deals from parents who are just recycling their children's old PCs for a low price, or it could be full of deluded PC builders who think that their precious 8-year-old PC is suddenly worth $2,000. This goes back to my point earlier about doing your research and actually knowing roughly what a PC is worth. Although naturally, when a listing mentions the CPU or the GPU, you can then Google this to find out the exact age of the computer and also to see whether it's still powerful or not. So Marketplace can be a good way of finding gaming PCs that were amazing 6 years ago, but will still run many of games nowadays, especially at 1080p. Just be sure to actually check the seller's reviews on Marketplace to ensure that they aren't a scammer or something like that. My next suggestion is to consider building a computer yourself. Yes, this sounds scary and it can cost you thousands if you want a super expensive build with all the latest hardware, but it is actually possible to just pay a few $100s or pounds and get a half-decent gaming PC, especially if you use refurbished parts or you hunt for hardware that's on sale. I recently purchased a refurbished Corsair PSU, for example, and it works just fine for me. Just be sure that you get a long enough warranty on any refurbished parts. Equally, subreddits like Build a PC Sales and Build a PC for Me have some great posts showing exactly how you can get a gaming powerhouse for a really good price. While building your own PC can seem a bit scary at first, it's actually quite straightforward once you do all the research, so I'll put some links down in the description with some really great build guides and information. Number 8 ties into this too, and is to look for deals in traditional brick-and-mortar stores like Best Buy and Micro Center. These sometimes have really good clearance deals and open box deals on key hardware like CPU, motherboards, graphics cards, and more. And sometimes you can even get a bundle which includes the CPU, motherboard, and RAM pre-built for less than it would actually cost to buy each part individually. This can then allow you to build your own PC for a really competitive price, and it will be a more reliable option than dumpster diving or ringing up a bunch of local companies to see if they have any surplus PCs. Next up, there are online communities that specialize in buying, selling, and swapping used computer hardware. Reddit's Hardware Swap springs to mind, for example. And this can often be a more reliable way of buying cheap hardware than Marketplace, which can be a bit of a lottery. That's because many of the sellers on Hardware Swap are knowledgeable and friendly PC builders who are just clearing out their old computer components, or maybe they actually work in PC repairs and end up with loads of old gear. Either way, if you purchased a Dell Precision from an eBay reseller, for example, and you just need a graphics card, this can be a really great way of getting a reliable GPU at a good price. My 10th point is to consider exploring cloud gaming instead of buying a really powerful and expensive gaming PC. That's because with cloud gaming, the games are actually rendered on a cloud server, and the game's graphics are then streamed to your PC. This might sound like it would be really laggy, but I tested GeForce Now out recently and it was a brilliant service. I didn't notice any lag at all or anything like that, to be honest. Xbox Cloud Gaming is another example of PC cloud streaming, and both of these services do require you to pay to get the best results. But it's something to consider because buying a basic £200 computer and then putting the savings into a cloud membership scheme can still work out cheaper than spending £1,000 when you include upgrades on a gaming PC, for example. The main downside of cloud gaming is that you will need a reliable internet connection. Your ISP speed should ideally be 100 megabits per second or more, and you should have a reliable router or mesh Wi-Fi system. That's certainly one option to consider though. Gone are the days of needing to pay £1,000 or more for a graphics card, in my opinion. And that covers off the 10 ways that I can think of to get a budget gaming PC, but what about you? If you can think of any more, then please let us all know down in the comments. It would help us all out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the thumbs up button and please subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.